Hello, in this video I'm going to talk about creating charts and graphs. Now, the hardest thing really about creating a chart or a graph in Excel is actually deciding what kind of chart you want to use. Not all data is compatible with all types of charts, and so we'll talk a little bit about that as we continue on. And remember, as usual, step-by-step instructions and downloads are available on my website, luthermaddy.com. So here I have some produce sales, and I would like to create a chart. Well, the first thing you have to decide, like I mentioned, is what kind of a chart would you like to do? Well, if you're comparing things, like comparing different types of produce or comparing the month totals, I would probably use a column or a bar chart. If we want to look for a trend, well, we'd probably use a line chart. And if we're just wanting to see the makeup of a whole, like in this case the grand totals here, I would probably use a pie chart. Well, once you've figured out what you want, in this case I just want to kind of compare the different produces for the different months. So I'm going to use a column chart. So the next step is just to select the data that you want to include in the chart. So I'm going to start here at A3 and I'm going to drag over to the end of March, or D8. So I've included the labels because they will actually show up in the Excel chart. Excel will know where to put these, hopefully. So once I've selected the data that I want to chart, the next step is just to go into the Insert menu and choose the chart type that I've liked. And I'm going to go ahead and choose a column chart, and I'm just going to keep it simple right now and go ahead and use a regular 2D column chart. And there it is. I have the apples and the blueberries and the pears, the apricots and the oranges. We have the different colors for the months. Pretty simple, right? Well, yeah, there's a little bit more to it here, but I'm going to go ahead and delete this chart, and we're going to make one that's a little bit more complex and show you some other features. So what I'm really interested in, though, for charting is not the individual produce themselves. I'm interested in the monthly total. So in this case, I'm going to select January, February, and March, the labels that I want on the chart, and then I'm going to select the totals. Problem is, of course, when I select the totals, when the month names are selected, the selection goes away. And of course, we use the Control key to select non-contiguous ranges. All right, so I've got the month names, the labels that I want to appear on the chart, and I've got the totals. Well, I'm going to go ahead and choose a column chart again, so go back to Insert, and just a regular 2D column chart. All right, there we have it, January, February, and March. And we can see that we're actually getting bigger, so maybe a line chart would have worked real well too. But we'll go ahead and stick with this, and I want to show you how to add some additional elements to this chart. Well, the chart is actually covering my data. I could, if I wanted to keep it on the same page, move it over here, and that would be fine. But what I really like to do is put this on a sheet by itself so that when I print it, it'll take up the full page. So if I'm in the Chart Design tab, which I should be if the chart is selected, I'm going to go ahead and click on the Move Chart tool. And I'm just going to move it into a new sheet, and I'm going to call this Month Totals. All right, so now I have the chart as a sheet by itself. You can see I have a new sheet down here, month totals, and I can go back to sheet 1, which is my data. Well, I want to add some additional options to this chart. The first thing I want to do is change the title. So I can just click on the title and I can edit it. I'm just double clicking in this case, and I'm going to go ahead and type in monthly. Easy enough. All right, well, what I'd also like to do here is it's hard for me to see the actual values. It looks like January is somewhere between 34 and 3,500, but I'd like to actually see the values themselves. So I'm going to add an element to this chart. We call that a data label. So I'm making sure that the Chart Design tab is active. I'm going to go ahead and click on the tool that says Add Chart Element, and I'm going to go ahead and click on Data Labels. Now, if I want to tell it what I want, I could have the name, January, February, March, which doesn't quite make much sense. But if I want to specify what I want to see and where I want to see, I can go ahead and click on the More Data Label Options. We're going to do that with a different chart. So right now I'm just going to go ahead and choose Outside In. It defaults to the actual value, which is exactly what I wanted. Now, if I want to highlight that and make sure people can see that, I can click on one of them. That selects all of the data labels. I can go back to the Home tab, and I could change the font here, in this case from 9 points to 16 points. I can also change the colors. Excel has some chart design and formatting features that would allow me to do that here. But what I want to do in this case is I just want to choose the colors that I want myself. So I'm okay with blue for January. So I'm going to click on February. Now notice when I click on February, all of the columns are selected. So I'm going to click on February one more time. And it's hard to see, but you cannot see the selection arrows or handles on the other columns in this case. So just February is selected. Now I can right click on it, and that's an easy way to bring up the shortcut menu and change the fill color. I'm just going to go ahead and choose, I don't know, green here, okay? And I'm going to do the same thing for March. I'm going to select just it, make sure that it is the only one that has the sizing handles here. Go ahead and select it, and we'll change this one to red. All right, that's pretty much how easy it is to create a column chart. Now, in the next step, I'm going to show you how to create a pie chart. So I'm going to go back to my data here. Now, a pie chart is when we want to see the makeup of the whole. So what I'm really interested in this case is for the first quarter, I have $11,307 worth of produce sold. I would like to know, really, I'd like to know, does that represent most of the blueberries or most oranges? Well, I can see that it looks like most of them are blueberries. Pears come in a close second, but I can do that very easily with a pie chart and very attractive visually. So I'm going to go ahead and select the produce types and use the control key again and drag down and select the totals. All right, so I've selected the data, and again I'm looking for the makeup of the whole, so I'm going to use a pie chart. So I go back to insert and I will choose pie chart. And again, there's some really cool pie charts here. I'm just going to stick with the 2D pie chart just to keep it simple. So I'll click on 2D pie chart here. There is my chart. Just like I did before, I'm going to move this chart into a new sheet. I'm going to call this produce totals. Okay, there we have it. Now I could change the chart title. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's just type totals here. Totals by produce here. Now what I'm really interested though in I can visually see that it looks like pears and blueberries, like I thought, take up the largest percentage here, but I actually want to see the percentage. I didn't compute the percentage. I could have on my worksheet here. There is no percentage column here. I could have added one, but in this case though, I'm going to do that with data labels. So I will go ahead and click on the chart design again. I'm going to add data labels, but this time because I want to specify exactly what I'm getting, I'm going to go ahead and choose more data label options. All right, as soon as I do that, it defaults to the value, which we saw that a second ago with the column chart. I'm going to turn off the value because I'm really not interested in the value itself. I'm interested in the percentage. So I'll go ahead and click on percentage here, and as soon as I do that now, I can see the actual percentage. I'm not happy where the percentage is showing up, so I'm going to go ahead and change it to the outside end, and I have now changed it to an outside the actual pie chart. I'm going to now go ahead and change the font size a little bit, maybe 12 point here, just a little bit larger here. And that's how you add data labels. Now, just one other fun thing you can do with your pie chart. In the same way that we change the color of one particular column, we can also pull away one particular slice. In this case, I'm going to pull away the apricot. So I've clicked once on apricots. That selected the whole pie chart or all of the produce items. I clicked again and I can see just barely that there are sizing handles just for this particular produce item, so I can actually drag that out. Now, I'm going to go back to month totals. I just want to make sure you understand one more very important thing about charts and graphs. So here we have the month totals of the total produce. We see 34.32 for January. I'm going to go back to the sheet. It's very important to understand that this is dynamic. So if I change a number here, not quite that big, and I go back to my chart, that one changed, but we can see it more easily here on the column chart. So when you change a value in a sheet, the graphs automatically change to reflect that. Right there you see some very easy charting and graph tools. I do have some additional lessons on my website and some additional videos that cover some more advanced features of charting and graphing. But hopefully you enjoyed this. If you did, please like it. Remember, you can find step-by-step instructions on my website, luthermaddy.com. We'll see you in the next video. Thank you very much.